Did you know that 54% of employees feel underappreciated? You know, if you sit there in your seat and you think to yourself, well, that's not my people, I want you to think again. Is it really because we don't say thank you enough? No. It's usually something more deep about underappreciation. It's about how are we really delivering that appreciation, that acknowledgement, that gratitude to our employees? Are we speaking the language they want to hear? Are we providing them the feedback, the appreciation that they're really desiring? And so if you think about that, 54% of our employees across the nation feel underappreciated. Think of how powerful that can be within your organization. If we can be a focus on employee engagement, really look at, okay, if we're going to put relationships over results, then appreciation is actually the easiest form of that. We're actually sitting down and saying, we're going to acknowledge, be thankful, show gratitude to our employees for what they do. Most of the time, we really can miss the mark on this. We can miss the mark on how we're delivering it to them. And that's what we're going to work on here today. Now, I want to start with something very specific. There are a lot of really beautiful systems out there, things you can purchase, throw into an online portal, and they allow you to maybe send somebody some love, send a badge, give them a thumbs up, things like that. And they really are designed around acknowledgement, around appreciation. But the truth is, today's session is not about those types of things. They provide some value, but what we're really getting into is not about the system. When it comes to acknowledgement and appreciation, we're talking about the genuine, intentional, sincere, personal ways that we make sure that our staff members, our coworkers, our superiors are feeling appreciated, are understanding our gratitude, and are being acknowledged for their contribution in the workplace. Now, I have to begin as I am working from home. And so during this crazy pandemic time right now that we're in, so if you're watching this recorded, that would be why, my internet just told me it was unstable. So if you see me cut a little bit, just bear with us. We'll keep running through this and we'll make sure we get you the tools that you really need. So I want to begin by introducing myself. My name is Ryan Boda. I'm one of the lead coaches and founders of Leap Training and Coaching. And I really specialize in communication, leadership, and building cultures. And so nothing is more strong than appreciation. And that's why today's weekly webinar is called Appreciation, the simplest form of relationships over results. So when we really take the time to appreciate, acknowledge, show gratitude to somebody, we can change their day. Now, this is what's so interesting. We at Leap Training Coaching call it the art of acknowledgement, right? The art of appreciation, because that's what it is. It's an art form. It takes practice, patience, creativity. But take it a step farther, because oftentimes we look at art and science separately. But there's also a very powerful science to appreciation that I just want to give you a little neuro tip about. So when it comes to the science of appreciation, really what happens is when we show appreciation and we receive appreciation, we get what we call a dopamine hit. That really just means that dopamine is produced in the brain as one of our neurotransmitters, and it just shoots off, flows through our body, floods our systems. And dopamine is a very powerful neurotransmitter. It actually makes us feel good. It builds habits because it gives you that little hit of excitement, of joy, of confidence. Dopamine is extremely powerful. And it's what we get when you take drugs. It's the same thing that is excreted from your brain. And so when you can appreciate people, you actually create this neurochemistry inside themselves and their bodies that shoot off in their brain and allow them to get that smile, feel more connected to you, feel more loyal to the company, have compassion, generosity, all these things. And so really the science of appreciation, of acknowledgement means, oh my gosh, look at what this can do for our culture, for our teams. So just stopping at science, you can say, well, this makes sense to implement in any workplace because of the power, the benefits it has for our company culture, our employees, their well-being. Now, when we get to the art, that's where we have a lot of fun with this. The art of acknowledgement is about being creative and making it personal. So I'm going to go through 5 easy pieces right here, where we're just going to talk a little bit about what are some ways you can really make sure that you're appreciating, acknowledging, being thankful for your employees. So the first and foremost is easy, and that's just plan to recognize them. And the reason that's number one, to plan, is because if we don't set aside the time to make sure that we're doing that, we're oftentimes going to overlook that piece. Now, a lot of times in meetings, we're really good at this part, right? Usually at the beginning of a meeting, we're great at maybe spending the first 3 minutes, acknowledging, appreciating a couple people in the meeting or the team for what they've done. But let's look at that a little farther and say, okay, how are we planning appreciation in our everyday conversations? How are we starting off with that? Or as with a client I worked with who, talked about that they took on a new department and they were like, I never have any time to get out to speak to people, to build relationships. And so part of plan to recognize, appreciate, acknowledge is that you actually set time in your schedule to get up off your desk, walk through the people you oversee, your workplace, your building, and just notice people, see what they've done, talk to them, and acknowledge them for the job, the task, the thing that they've done. By building that relationship, by setting the time aside where you just put a block on your calendar that's 30 minutes that says, I'm just going to walk around my office and meet, speak with people, and get to know them on a deeper level. That's planning to appreciate them. The second step is very important though. It's be specific with your appreciation. Be very specific with your acknowledgement. When I said that 54% of employees feel underappreciated, and I said, is it because we don't say thank you? No, it's because we're not specific with our appreciation. When we simply just say, great job team, and move on, we're not really acknowledging someone's contribution. We're not really helping them understand that what they did was seen on a deep level. So when we go in to appreciate someone, we go in with the mindset of, okay, we're going to make sure that we let them know exactly what they did that we loved. So if it's somebody who's working on a project, maybe it's with a team, and you can call out that one person and you can really say, I appreciate all that work you put into the report. The way you had it detailed and yet so easy to read, it made it so great for the viewer, and I appreciate that. What you just did is you acknowledged exactly what they did that really spoke to you, rather than just saying great job on the report. What that does is it triggers just a little deeper part of our brain, that appreciation part that shoots off that dopamine, and it really lets us know what we did. And what I will tell you is what's incredible about Be Specific is that when you look at Be Specific, the next step is that those neurotransmitters, those dopamines that are sent off that create habits, it's exactly what drives this piece that we use in schools, which is positive behavior intervention systems. So why we teach teachers to talk to kids on a positive note of what things do we want to be seeing. So we're not disciplining, we're looking for positive ways to reinforce things. It's actually because that dopamine that shoots off, right? So it actually reinforces this is a good thing to do. And so the same works in the workplace. So when we're very specific, we shoot off that dopamine and we allow them to understand, oh my gosh, that's what they wanted to see. Not you did a great report, it's, hey, these are the parts I loved. I loved your graphics. And specifically, it shoots off, builds the habit, and helps create the routine, the form that we'd like to see. So it's really powerful in building those relationships and building the way people do things. Third, it says connect appreciation to your company. And that looks like a variety of ways. We oftentimes have, different awards throughout a company and things like that. But when we just connect our everyday appreciation and gratitude to our company, that's where we find power. So what that looks like is maybe you take your mission statement or your core values and you work to acknowledge and appreciate using those. You let people know when you see them using that one core value, when maybe your core value is excellence, right? So when you go into the workplace and you see someone being excellent, make sure when you appreciate, you acknowledge that that's what they were demonstrating for your company. for your customers, for your clients, however you look at it, that they were demonstrating excellence when they blank. What were they doing? When you took that extra 5 minutes on that call to really understand what that customer was going through, I really cannot believe how incredible that was. And that customer gave a great review on you. That's about excellence, right? So tie it back to our values, tie it back to our mission. And then most importantly, when it says connect appreciation to our company, think about your culture. Think about what type of culture do you have, what kind of industry environment, because then you can play off that as you appreciate. If you're kind of a fun, tech, goofy culture, then you can manipulate your appreciation to be centered around that type of atmosphere. But maybe you're more of a business atmosphere. So maybe you change and have an appreciation in a more formal manner. So think about your environment, your culture, your values, your mission, and make sure that when you appreciate, you tie into that. What that actually does is it creates an alignment with the bigger organizational goals through our appreciation. It's something that we teach all the time in coaching, is always tie back to the larger organizational mission, vision, values, direction all the time. So appreciation is very powerful in alignment as well. Fourth, we talk about make it fun. Really look for a way to create a fun tradition within your company, right? So the awards, the Employee of the Month awards, things like that, those are very formal ways of doing things, but let's create fun ways of doing things. And so the best example right now is we have an executive team that we were coaching and working through, and we were looking for ways to appreciate, to acknowledge, to show gratitude for their staff, especially within their executive team. And so, yes, we started with core values and talked about how we use those. But then we went quickly and they came up with this really fun technique where they've still been doing it months later when we follow up, is one of the staff members had a stuffed frog. And what they've been doing is they've been passing it around from person to person every week. And when you first get it, you come to the meeting and you're supposed to give it to someone else. And in that, you show your gratitude, show your appreciation for something you noticed them doing this week and exactly how it ties into the vision and values of the company. And then you pass it to that person and they take it to their office and keep it for the week. And what they said they found is that, number one, within their team, they have a tighter, more fun, they can toss the frog around. Sometimes they give it when something big happens, so it's not just at the meeting. It gives them something fun to play with. And then what really it does is it creates a conversation with the larger population. So for the CEO, when somebody comes in to talk to them from the community, they said, hey, what's that frog on your desk? And she was able to share that this is something that they're doing, right? Or maybe an employee comes in to one of the VPs and talks to them and they say, no, this is a part of our appreciation piece. And what you start to realize is the impact that acknowledgement and gratitude have. So make it fun, make it a game. Because when it's play, when it's fun, we want to do it. It doesn't become a task. It doesn't become something you must do. It becomes fun. And so find ways in your company culture to make it fun. And the last one is one of the most impactful for me. And that says, ask employees what they would like, right? So when it comes to gratitude, appreciation, acknowledgement, actually talk to your employees. If you've ever read it was from Gary Chapman, the 5 love languages, it's about the fact that each of us speaks a different language. And when it comes to thankfulness, gratitude, appreciation, acknowledgement, the same is true. We all speak a little different language. Some people love when you throw a party with food. Some people love when you just verbally acknowledge them in front of others. Some people like when it's just a quiet, simple conversation. You come into their office and it's just you and them. They just want to feel appreciated for their accomplishment or their work. Now, that's a really challenging thing for you to go around, but you need to go around and understand your staff, understand your people, encourage your people to understand their people, and really understand how can we acknowledge and appreciate at a level that each person would feel. If we're talking about that 54% of employees feel underappreciated, then it's more about how we're appreciating them than if we are. We're really good at saying thank you or doing a really blanketed thank you online. But how do we really get down into the genuine, intentional, personal ways of showing appreciation, demonstrating that art of acknowledgement by practicing, being creative and patient with ourselves, and really understand that science, that dopamine, those relationships, that deeper connection we form by actually appreciating people is well worth that time. So when it comes to appreciation, it's about really understanding what the employees are looking for, right? Plan to recognize them. And then be very specific with it. Make sure that they really understand what it was they did, that you loved, that was great, that helped build that project the way it did, because that will be what will reinforce that behavior. The third was connect appreciation to your company. Make sure you know your mission, your values, make sure everyone else knows them, and tie everything back into them for alignment with that bigger vision. The fourth was to make it fun. Play with it, enjoy it. When we play, it becomes so much easier to build routine, habit, even the science shows it. Just enjoy and play with it and have fun and push through when that first obstacle comes up. Keep appreciating, keep acknowledging, keep having gratitude. And the last one is the simple one. Ask employees what they want. Make sure that you really understand, oh, this kind of person really loves when I bring them a little gift. And it can be as simple as I went to the vending machine and I grabbed an extra Diet Coke for them. While others want to be acknowledged in a very private manner, maybe a little handwritten thank you note. Make sure that you understand what your employees want, because just implementing these 5 easy steps can really make sure that you take your culture, your employees, your coworkers, your staff, and severely cut that 54% down. You're going to have people more engaged, more cared for, more loyal, and more productive because of that. They will feel that towards your company, and so you're really going to cut down on that 54%. So remember, when it's about appreciation, that is the simplest form of relationships over results. Let's get rid of that 54% and let's really strive to play with our art of acknowledgement, understand the science, implement our 5 steps to appreciation, acknowledgement, and gratitude. Thank you.